bullshit setup, pretty glowing lights and whispered lies. These bastards call it science, but I call it a goddamn elite-sponsored cover-up to hide the real monsters! Welcome back to another episode of the Juggernaut Astronaut Show. Today we are delving deeper into the two twisted tiers of our elite who have formed a government in a way where the true operators are unknown. We were supposed to talk about Tartaria, but I have a sneaky suspicion. The two items are connected! So my thinking is this. We live in a world where the true leaders are hidden like the Wizard of Oz and run their agenda unrestrained. They own the military and instruct them to follow their orders. They control the media and are powerful enough and rich enough to keep their names out of it all, completing subterfuge and high technology projects indiscriminately. Unrestrained science. If all is to be believed, they are kidnapping children from war-torn countries and doing terrible experiments. If everything is to be believed, they kidnap children from war-torn countries and experiment by hybridizing and creating humans crossed with alien DNA. How monstrous and cruel these atrocious scientists must be. At the behest of this shadow elite and their ulterior motives of creating the hybrids for communicating with the aliens, whom they have been firing upon intensely, trying to garner their hardware to reverse engineer, then claim it isn't so. Our science has advanced enough to warrant we know about it. The two-tiered existence is crumbling like the Twin Towers. That's what I think the ontological shock really is. We are figuring out what's truly transpiring and how rampant this problem is. Deep-rooted in society and held together by lies, coercion, or outright denial, and of course threats and ultimately being burned at a stake if you don't shut your mouth. Of course, nowadays they just use a beam weapon or injection. Seriously, is it not crazy what information is coming out? It's known far-fetched. It is high time. Things bloody well change. The control that's coming is what has me worried. But let's be honest, these fools have been in control for a long time, but look where this got us. And that brings us back to the Tartarians. Tesla based his inventions on what his predecessors discovered. Who were Tartarians? They knew the process of tapping the ether for power. So what happened to it? Things just shifted one day. World fairs showcased the most incredible things and built with such precision and mathematical proficiency that it's staggering. Things changed around the mid-1800s from my hunch. The only reason I can fathom is the officials wanted to charge for energy. Things like prohibition, for example, weren't implemented for public safety, but for the express purpose of preventing humans from using food waste as a source to make fuel. Alcohol, to be precise. Alcohol that was being produced by farmers and middle-class people to run their vehicles. This became very popular, and whomever had the capability made sure to limit this resource. Outlawed it. Humans couldn't drink for a few years, legally anyways, but they phased out the alcohol and produced vehicles that ran on gasoline, ensuring they ran poorly on ethanol. Ethanol. Sound familiar? Like what they are adding to our gas in increasing amounts recently. Yeah, the ethanol, made from grain, isn't it? Anyways, it's not energy from the ether, like Tesla's electric car that also got buried with all the rest of the knowledge that these fat cats have been ripping us off on ever since. Wardenclyffe Tower was a reality that could have provided energy non-stop and delivered through the air. He bragged it could provide a shield around the Earth to keep invaders out. Keeping invaders out. Why would he have said that? Tesla said he was communicating with extraterrestrials whom he assumed were on the moon or Mars. Isn't it strange to think he already succumbed to the truth that aliens were here already and way smarter and more capable than humans? He further claimed a passage could be created magnetically and electrically from planet to planet, creating a superhighway between planets in our solar system. I know the sun's influence is upon the entire solar system, a toroid within a toroid, affecting all the planets in a closed system, gravitational, vibrational, electrical. So that could be a reality we just don't know about because of further national security. Our research is based off of conjecture and rumor, plus the passing of time as items come to light to corroborate or uncorroborate evidence and testimony. Like I said, not all the scientists are probably on board, but I'm sure they are all on the payroll. Good way to keep people quiet is to pay them. But when you can print money, what do they care? Shut up or well damage your soul. So take the money or your life. I expect unscrupulous. Like every CEO in existence. Bet if we tested the elite, we'd find some blood discrepancies along with genetic differences. That's the hardest thing to swallow. That these fat cats don't have a moral obligation to humanity or just manners by itself. The alien interview stated their morals were ruled by compassion and evidence. Not so here though, hey? Our leaders lack compassion, and their morals are terribly below the normal folk, when in reality they should have higher standards. Then, regular citizens, which also makes me earnestly believe they should hold themselves to this high standard and even attack fellow politicians who act in deplorable ways. Let's be honest. The candor and friendship between coworkers can prevent rocking the boat and no one says a fucking thing. I cite Epstein Island, Diddy parties, and all of Hollywood as evidence. The evidence I see tells me the moral part is non-existent in our leaders. Like, I can seriously see how broken the whole thing is when just saying national security is enough to keep you out of jail. Put them in a skiff and skip the fuck out of them until they break and spill the skiff beans. Don't talk to me about national security when laws of governance are being broken. This implies the laws never existed, which implies we need to fix a loophole and quick. How in the world does just saying national security abate the need for inquiry? Need to know, they say? Well, fuck yeah, we need to know what you clowns have been doing. Illegal things. Laser-focused apathy. Complete disregard for any accountability. These cretins are even worse than the politicians who are their intermediaries. The control is upon them, and you can see our politicians writhe in discomfort when asked the same question. It's obvious with politicians that they are not in control and are actually under control. This stupid setup is pathetic. It's so dumb that we all never believed it because it's laughable. Secret societies, spastic elite asshole islands, kidnapped children, abuse, death. Now we hear about tanker truck purchases of hydrochloric acid. How exactly do you get a tanker truck full of acid to an island? I assume it's to get rid of evidence. Dissolve the bodies and let them drain into the oceans. And how does it get there? Some kind of a fire brigade float plane full of acid? Did they fly in a tanker truck or build it on site from parts? By boat, I would imagine. But on the down low, right? Someone knows who asked for it. And someone knows who paid for it. And someone knew where to get it. That's absurd. Like walking into a hardware store and walking out with a murder kit. Someone said, listen, I need 11,000 gallons of HCI. It's for my school project? Am I the only one asking the questions? Am I the only one who can put two and two together? It's incredibly ironic as I consider myself a sensible agnostic, which is by definition, a person who holds that ultimate truths about the divine, the origins of the universe, or certain metaphysical questions cannot be known with certainty. So now we bring that mindset into the matters at hand. On the secrecy in question, the events in question, our entire history in question. I know our elected officials aren't asking the questions or following the leads. The fear factor in this whole planet has its death grip, I'm sure. I'm ready for death because I know this life isn't over when death occurs. Whatever it is, there is more to our existence and glory beyond this realm of chaos. Even if it's going to be digital uploads of consciousness. Even now, social media accounts exist after human expiry. With AI added to the algorithm, it's like you're still alive. New posts added every day based on your habits. But you're gone? So is that still you? Maybe it will make your friends and family finally love you. At least that's how the oligarchs think. But honestly, they are extending life through drugs and seem to be making headway. Pair that with designer babies, and we may see incredible capabilities by genetic modifications. The only problem is, it will only be for the fuckheads who can afford it. The more money you throw at genetic engineering means a better baby that you can essentially buy. Like, we already have admission of hybrids. And hybrids are obviously the real stunt cocks in charge, who are already genetically modified and of which the technology has already been developed and copywritten. Can't wait for the replicant series of men and women that are going to be hotter than a silly robot could ever be. I can hear the money being slapped on the counter already. So I don't fear the Reaper like I should, or the three-letter agencies. That old adage applies to me. If they strike me down, I shall become more powerful than they could possibly imagine. I'm entirely capable of being a martyr. Through AI videos and music, I express my thoughts about the state of affairs, leaving my mark in history and exposing the molesting of our society, en masse and probably perpetrated by hybrids, smart enough to keep it secret and manipulate all of humanity at the same time. That's why I think history has been rewritten, more like revamped. entirely. Let's again be honest with ourselves and ask the question, what the fuck happened? Well, it's obvious to me that dirt has covered all of ancient civilizations. We obviously have evidence of high technology and building methods we can't even replicate. Now we have evidence of even more high technology under every fucking ancient structure, going deep down for kilometers. Does that mean these structures were all skyscrapers and at some point covered by kilometers of debris? Cataclysm? Pole shift? Magnetosphere failure? The sun sloughing off giant amounts of material and repercussions on Earth from that? I can only guess, but there is no doubt that the past contains national security concerns. What national security concerns? Well, if it's known a planetary event was coming, would not entitled cretins, and specifically CEOs, hide this fact? It is hard to believe the depth these buildings go down into the ground. I'm suggesting they were at one time above ground and buried. They say there are structures on the moon that are like 2 kilometers high. So bingo, we have a match in scale and size and a possible connection between the moon and the Earth if indeed there are structures there. Your move, NASA? Please, release the files, you tight-fisted bastards. Yet again, people, we are misinformed and thwarted by national security. Once again, to me, evidence shows chronic obfuscation and sanitized information that's not being released as it should be. I don't know what anyone that's watching this video thinks, but I see a pattern here, repeated like a digital delay, time and time again. Just the Roswell event alone was a game played by our military over the course of 80 years. I wish at least the politicians would come forward and say, shit, we don't know what's going on, and we are being force-fed policy. The way things work seems absurd. Psychopaths who are ruthless hold all the money and make all the rules, and that's just wrong. These idiots see themselves as leaders, but in truth they are bullies and entitled morons. Fuck them, losers. Like it's a good thing to be ruthless, like it's to be celebrated and amply rewarded through bonuses and deeper cuts to allow more profits into their own pockets while reducing the cost of operation. So it seems it's known and well established among the ultra-rich that hybrids are in charge. Putham's book seems to suggest this is true, and the last 100 years alone it's been echoed through our history, but poo-pooed as fake news and secrets remain hidden. This travesty over humanity is slowly being revealed and endorsed by some of our leaders. The Russian president put this on record. He states he is fighting against this corruption and trying to lift humanity to new levels. It's a crap system. It's slanted. Must be nice to not only have genetic advantages, but to be callous and mean, while geared suppression of most of humanity is looked upon as slaves to be used, abused, and laughed at how ruthless we are. Haha, stupid human. I am superior. I speak for you. I own you. You work for me, and I will not pay you anything more except a living allowance. And let's raise pricing because we added the word crisis. It's all orchestrated to keep us exactly where we are. This is all very carefully calculated and overwhelming when you finally see the truth. I used to think corporations aren't here to screw us. They want our money and to sell. But nowadays, I think they do want to eliminate us, but not before taking advantage of us till retirement. If we live that long, the Tartarian Empire was reality, systemically eradicated and destroyed only to be replaced by chargeable energy and CEOs instilled in all avenues leading to Rome. The world is only now recognizing this. The trouble with my show is that it's an omnibus, a broad collection of information, analysis, and interpretations built from years of study. This allows me to deduce patterns and uncover deeper truths. The downside is that I often jump between topics. What looks like a scattered collection of disconnected dots is actually held together by a single underlying thread, much like a Sudoku puzzle merged with a crossword. In the end, it's really just the result of careful, astute observations. If you think this is just the rant of an idiot, then explain this. Why do old maps clearly show Tartaria? Why do we have buildings of such mathematical precision and geometric harmony, seemingly based on vibration and cymatics, that to modern-day people first appeared in historical books as mandalas but became stunning architectural designs, in stone no less? How could these masterpieces have been built by farmers with horse-drawn buggies? The symmetry, the construction methods, all the chiseling, the aesthetics and seemingly perfect curves and micronaut etchings, all works of art, all done with precision and what appears to me on purpose. But wait, there is more. Why were the bells removed? That's right, they removed bells. They said it was for the war effort, but this would have been a worldwide undertaking. All the bells were removed, all over the world.
Stop the Juggernaut Astronaut.
These bells were specially made, precise ratios of metals to create a perfect balance between them as an alloy. They vibrated at very specific frequencies and are said to have been beneficial. The 1800s seemed to have all kinds of chaotic events, and one of the strangest items was the insane asylums built, if they were indeed built. No one is alive to contest the narrative anymore, but they built or founded huge buildings to house many, many people. I know, strange, right? Why would they construct these huge and vast buildings when the populations of that time period were tiny? In fact, I believe they didn't build them at all. They found them and moved people in there that were deemed insane. Where did all these so-called crazy people come from? How did they even know they needed such large buildings? It all seems so absurd and contrived. Maybe the people deemed insane are the ones who complained or outright went against the narrative, so they get stamped with the insane nomenclature, and over time the real events become obscured. Then, we have all the trains loaded with orphans. Like, what? Where did these kids even come from? Strange event on top of strange events. Then fires. World Expos, again, with incredible architecture. Again, built by horse and buggy within a 2-year time period. Today I learned the Tartarians had a different clock. Sometime prior to 1790, they changed it to a 24-hour clock from the Tartarian 17-hour clock. What's even more disturbing is the reason this was done. It is rumored to have been instilled to accommodate the Industrial Revolution and a factory mentality to the workloads. So they started with kids, the orphans who really had no other choice but to learn, obey, and push fucking coal carts with their heads till they outgrew the mines. It's just one absurdity after another, and the only thing that makes sense is that it was a scheme put into place while burying the facts as they were. The kinds of things that can be accomplished when money is not an object is the true insanity. Having people in charge who treat fellow man as objects and playthings and worse, disposable goods. That's what gets me the most. The concept that we are all here to provide entertainment and a workforce who are taken advantage of while deemed worthless. So let's recap for a moment, shall we? Things shifted in the 18th century. War whores got their way. Bells were removed. Time was changed. Insane asylums were built to house a lot of people. Tartaria was erased. Free energy was completely eradicated. Vibrational healing was completely eliminated. Artisan stonework and construction by peasants and farmers no less was a completely forgotten how-to. A huge wave of mental sickness was noted, and a lot of insane asylums were built. We are still finding structures under the streets of modern-day cities. Orphans were imported, trucked in by train, and entered into schools and a curriculum force-fed that washed the brains of those kids. Time itself and measurement of time was changed, more strange on top of strange, like the world fairs with brilliant architecture and lights, showcasing a luminous layout with practically millions of lights, built in under 2 years and destroyed immediately after the presentation. And let's not forget about the airships. The great Zeppelins. Just think about how many. Modern day accidents have occurred with jets and passenger planes, but they outlawed blimps after only one incident. The Hindenburg is also known to have had special paint that essentially was a chemical concoction that most resembled solid rocket fuel. Like what? These flying love boats were the pinnacle of travel, with safety records far superior to any other form of travel. So this evidence is amassing, and there is still more to the story. The past has definitely been modifying itself, at least within my life. Everything I am referring to has occurred prior to my own inception date. But it is strange and coincidental. I keep asking myself why, and the only reason I can fathom is it was done for a cash grab. The type of grab that locked us all into a rat race for energy. And I don't mean production or distribution. I believe it was for the subscription. Every single one of these CEOs just love that their paychecks remain consistent, timely even. It gives new meaning to the phrase, fuck you, pay me. Imagine if we had free energy before and they one day decided to change how things were. Like I said, these clowns play the long game and it took them generations to implement and complete their changes to society. But I don't believe the narrative anymore. Not when I see all this evidence to indicate the lies that were placed upon the modern day humans, as money accumulated in their pockets and taken out of ours for items that were already being employed. Electricity is prolific everywhere. Every atom, every cosmic particle on our planet. In fact, all planets have a flow of energy that can be tapped into and used more wisely than the infrastructure in place now. I already mentioned the cathedrals, that within its name have the word cathode. Even the look of these cathedrals have long, tall spires to collect and amplify power. Power pulled from the ether, or the atmosphere, or the parallel universe. I don't know, but it's not impossible, but it is plausible that it can be done. But certain deep-pocketed clowns suppressed it and forced their mandate. That's the great awakening going on right now. We are finding out secret societies and their long-term agendas are a GD reality. This is our reality. Crooked hybrids as landlords.
Juggernaut Astronaut. Juggernaut Astronaut.
Again, I can't prove a thing, and I use my own judgment to ascertain the truth from facts. But what are the facts? Where is the truth? It's hidden between the lines being created by AI and people like myself with too much time on their hands. Recent injuries have rendered me useless in the workforce, so I have ample time to pontificate and examine what's being presented in alarming rates. From UFO disclosure to New World Order mandates, I digest information at a rapid rate of consumption. I have to carefully scrutinize the ingredients of data as, in this age, fake data and outright lies exist prolifically. Typically, I simply observe and analyze, but I don't research every snippet of the news sources. Even with the time I have on my hands, I can't dedicate myself to following all the stuff coming out. If I, a dude with a cell phone, can create videos like this, what could someone do with a budget? Or worse, a deeply hidden black budget with unlimited resources and cash to spend. We all know how subterfuge works. We also know our governments use subterfuge and propaganda, let alone covert operations to infiltrate, manipulate, and destroy complete countries from within. I also understand the business of oil is at the forefront of most operations to dislodge leaders and take over resources. It's a wheel of deception, and we are spinning around it like a bouncing roulette ball. Meanwhile, politicians using insider trading and exorbitant paychecks are doing damage repeatedly. They will also vote favorably for their own raises, just like every job I've ever had, right? Meanwhile, fire stations and hospitals are closing due to budget restrictions. Well, of course, when you steal from the kitty to add to your own pocket. Multiply that by each and every politician, what else can we expect? Higher taxes, shoddy roads, terrible education, no medical care, and more bootstrap pulling recommendations with fake meat to feed us going forward. Those same politicians are raising their paychecks while telling the rest of humanity to pull up their bootstraps and buy fewer lattes. The truth is so far from the current reality that they are all shit scared to say anything, let alone make a positive change or limit the amounts of corruption. They're all either bought off or scared into compliance, or part of the problem to begin with. They make the fucking rules, right? I keep flipping back and forth between Tartarians and CEOs as I firmly believe they go hand in hand. Tartarian way of life was deep-stated and buried like the cancer cure only to ensure the money loop exists. Pay for energy, distract with media control, educate with severe limitation and complete control of information. Build a new society where slaves are no longer in chains but kept like financially insecure worker drones that live and work for amenities. But wait, there's more. Control all the education, to the point that medical professionals are revamped into pill-pushing bastards. And take away the medicines used for thousands of years in favor of carcinogens, as the new so-called clean drugs have ample side effects and cause issues. Issues that are solved by taking more drugs. But wait, there's more. Suppress the vibrational therapy to ensure sickness cannot be intervened upon using energy manipulation, and put out products that have excessive pricing, don't work, and ensure the population is reduced through sickness that's created by the drugs and their side effects while selling the drugs at exorbitant prices that should help with the symptoms created. Vibrational therapy, you say? Like the vibration one would physically feel from bells? Bells they removed to support war and not health? All of this sounds like the dick moves a CEO would make, which leads me to believe CEOs are the dirtiest of donkey cocks who invented and then systematically eradicated the Tartarian Empire and their way of life, ensuring their stupid paychecks kept coming. This is a lot of evidence to suggest that fuckery has been occurring since before my life, but surely started long ago. It's clear to me that there is an agenda and the people behind it. If they are indeed people and not shape-shifting reptilian hybrids that have been modifying their appearance for generations and who currently look human. Shapeshifters? Maybe they just look human now, but they still like that human meat, eh? I'm telling you, I can't make this stuff up. My scripts are way better. This fucking video is over 30 minutes long. That's a lot of talking points, and we still haven't discussed all there is to discuss about the Tartarians. But it is food for thought and revolution, as these crooked and sinister pricks need to be stopped in their tracks. They need to be made to adhere to rules of conduct and severely admonished, then punished if things are not kept to order. Sadly, if you don't know who the people are that are approving adding poisons to our food, for example, what then? So they get rid of waste through our food and getting paid to do it. They are more than excited for their profits. Could simply care less who is damaged. The sugar industry alone is rampantly adding sugar to every product that they know they don't have to. Look at all the ingredients in bread. When I make it, it's 4 ingredients and no radioactive material. But what about the flour I buy? Therein is the problem. So who's responsible? It's that same greed-driven CEO. But that's what these arrogant clowns are doing. Entire members of the board are signing off on tainted additives, getting rid of nuclear waste by adding it to fertilizer and my Lucky Charms. I believe the fast food and restaurant industries are the worst quality of food you can buy. I suggest you avoid it. Make them starve their own paychecks and maybe they will change what is being done. But where is the governing body to address this indecency? Where does the responsibility lie? With me? I'm the one who's supposed to navigate poisons added, renamed periodically, to circumnavigate the fact that people are indeed checking ingredients and avoiding some of the worst offenders. The elite are well funded so they can avoid what the poor have no choice but to eat. A case of mac and cheese goes a long way when you can't afford meatballs. I don't know if you guys are recognizing what is going on, but it's a pattern, and it's been initiated since the late 1700s, from my reckoning. I honestly thought we had a governing body to ensure corporations cannot make decisions like fake meat in our soup without informing us. Chicken fingers made from slop and ground bones. Anyone even know why milk is pasteurized? Some brilliant team of CEOs approved corralling cows and feeding them food, even worse than what the human population gets, which poisoned the milk. So they boil it to make it digestible, stating it's for our good and raw milk is outlawed. Brilliant, right? The pattern is clear, well established and deeply inserted while being hidden from view indiscriminately. It's pathetic. These clowns in charge do not deserve their positions if they cannot protect the public from death, bringing poisons added to our food, added to our genetically modified fruits and vegetables. But it's even worse than that. Anyone ever hear about Rothschild's Island in Antarctica? This is a deep hidden vault and more that's been closely guarded and hidden since the early 1800s. This is an island that we cannot visit and has its own military presence, 24/7 and year-round, kept hidden since before 1818, exposed by naval records of gold shipments, owned by a single bloodline for over 200 years. 200 years, ladies and gentlemen. I mentioned the long game, and this is just that. These hybrid bastards are going so remote so as to ensure no one can reach them without a fat wallet and proper documentation or permission. It's rumored to be much more than just a gold repository, and it's been hidden with the cooperation of governments and banks all over the world. Are these the people who erased Tartarians in their way of life, their 17-hour day, their inventions, their energy harvesting techniques and building techniques? I recently read a former Rothschild's private chef said this family have a specific diet, one that limits certain food to ensure accelerated brain function. I hope it's not human protein. Hey!
Stop the Juggernaut Astronaut.
Is this not just fucking crazy? While also being overwhelming evidence of a sophisticated and multifaceted conspiracy that spans centuries? Looks that way to me. Once again, I cannot prove a single item, but I see what I see and the dots I connect will surely make me a target. Good thing my health is already waning and I'm sure I'll be portrayed as an idiot, a radical, or any number of potential downgrades. I think I flatter myself assuming I'd be a threat. So I think I have made many points that need to be explained. Too many irresponsible people need to be made accountable after they are exposed. I don't know what to believe anymore. Aliens, hybrids, world leaders, billionaires. I don't give a fuck who they are, only that they need to be exposed, apprehended, and stopped. However, you can all see what a tangled web we survive within.
Stop the Juggernaut Astronaut.
And yes, we survive in this contrived and slanted setup of a system. but it's visible. So like a cancer, it needs to be treated and to be replaced by something healthy. I feel this world could be a fantastic place if we can understand that certain behaviors like greed and violence should be identified, admonished, and eliminated. But it all starts with transparency and accountability that can only bring about respect for one another. The ideal that theft is to be applauded is wrong. It seems because of corporate greed, most grow up worshiping gangsters, because those are the only people anyone saw getting respect. Our friends, our phones, our music all reflect terrible values, and they are being taught by the greed at the top. Those gangsters are the worst this world has to offer. Apathetic and arrogant, cruel and selfish. The entire system needs to be replaced immediately. I, for one, will never respect a thief, whether he gets a bonus or not. There's still a thief and a liar. The point is, there are a group of business owners who think they own the water, the air, the food, the land, and everything within this planet. They tell you your worth while raising their bonuses yearly and pay off the politicians who are complete, owned by them. They create laws to benefit themselves. These laws are enforced for them, but they lie, cheat, and steal, obscure facts, hide facts, and educate people with sanitized versions of a contrived reality, all while making record profits. So what does this have to do with Tartarians? I've said it's connected. I've said it's been the long game they played. I said there is a Rothschild Island that's been there for 200 plus years with its own military, and we cannot even go there. I've said they sanitized and took over education after destroying the Tartarian Empire and revamping history as they saw fit. I said hybrids, reptilians are a likely truth. And I said the narrative is on. CEOs are bad for our health, and they are. They have been detrimental to any human growth, except for their own crisis-endorsed record profits. The scum of the earth are the clowns at the top. So I think we will end this episode on that multifaceted tangent, and I myself firmly believe a hoodwinked society has been created while an intelligent society was reduced to nothing. Those who opposed it were institutionalized as mental health afflicted humans. So it's a good thing all the insane asylums were already there to house them. Come to the end of this episode, and I want you to watch to know it's for real. Next time we will talk about more new information for my most important and interesting thing to me, alien disclosure. I heard President Putin is making further waves with regard to Tartarian knowledge and proof this was a planetary erasure. We'll see if anything new develops there. Further time and continued vigilance is needed for that, folks. I'll keep you posted. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Tell your friends, tell your family, you saw the Juggernaut Astronaut.